Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at SUI, see what's going on. 366, testing that lower 0.65, 0.618 golden pocket area. Likely to bounce off of this range here, but again, this is a support range for a reason. We don't know truly where the bottom's going to stop here. And again, mainly that happens because the simple fact that we saw a majority of altcoins, in fact, every single altcoin that I'm aware of, got destroyed yesterday, including SUI, a wick all the way down to 335. That is insane. But again, Bitcoin corrected itself by a significant margin, and altcoins pretty much 2 to 3x Bitcoin. So they sure showed Bitcoin, didn't they? So let's take a quick look here at Bitcoin Let's look at the backend data here for SUI and see what's going on. Because again, with Bitcoin's correction, it's super relevant to SUI and a lot of altcoins too. Because even though SUI does a good job of responding quickly when we see sell-offs from other altcoins, it seems to be one of the stronger coins. It's still susceptible to that manipulation that we saw yesterday. So just please understand, this coin is not infallible. It's still absolutely, on the same in the same ecosystem as a lot of other market makers. Okay, and just to quickly note too, we had two possible scenarios. Price come up to reject off 410, which is what my expectation was. It came up to about 405. And instead just turned right around instantly when Bitcoin lost its bottom. So this does invalidate this Elliott wave here. And future reference, folks, Elliott wave is strictly a theory. It doesn't work all the time. In fact, it works very, very seldom. Just kind of gives you perspective on what's going on. Not like we can't still bounce on this 0.618 fib level, but that candle wick essentially just canceled that out. So just know, if you are really big on Elliott wave, no discredit. It's just that you literally cannot use that as just the sole indication of how to trade. It's really crazy how some people actually do that. Anyways, I mentioned that a lot in my videos because there's a chunk of people in my community that talk highly about it, and I just want you to know that while it's still beneficial, just like everything else, you got to kind of use a blended average of different moving averages and technical analysis. It's not just one size fits all. You'll never find that. Anyways, all that being said, SUI backend data here, obviously, as per usual, 450, 460 is that upper liquidation level. We now have a heavier concentration at 343 down to 320. Okay, so just keep in mind those are potential areas of retracement, but more importantly, it's a good area of support. Okay, you got to keep in mind liquidation levels occur at support and resistance ranges because of the simple fact that that's just where people tend to buy more, right? They feel confident in taking a long in the 350 range. So at this point, it's working out. I would say decent if you got in around 340, 350, but at this level here, it's important to recognize there's still a lot of meat left on the bone to the downside. So heaven forbid Bitcoin makes a run towards 90K. We may see low $3 or upper $2 range. I think that's a low probability just based on the strength of this coin, but there's definitely more people shorting this coin than taking longs right now. The short liquidation delta is close to about a $250 million, about roughly 250. Okay, so again, that just kind of gives us perspective in the sense that this is every coin is being impacted right now by what happened, and Bitcoin doesn't show any signs of wanting to recover. It bounced off its support at 94.7, which is expected, and is making a run towards 97K. But we don't close over 97, 98,000 today for Bitcoin. I think we're probably likely to see further downside. Okay. Anyways, watch my video if you're curious about that. But open interest here for SUI the last 7 days. We can see the most amount of interest, of course, at 420, 430. Imagine being long at 420. Taking a look here as well, we got 380 and 370 as kind of the local range there. That's where a lot of people are kind of adding in. So most people are underwater, no matter how you look at it. Everyone buying the dip is getting destroyed. So that's all the more reason why you don't just buy a dip to buy the dip. You wait for the price to bottom out and try to do that if you can. Now again, spot bags, totally different story. Please understand when I'm talking about all these buying the dips, I'm referring to leverage plays that most people are getting destroyed with. Not necessarily spot bags. I do think big picture SUI still has tremendous potential. This is just a small little pullback compared to how big it probably will be. But again, keep in mind when I talk about a lot of my analysis is mostly geared towards those who are trading with leverage. Okay. So daily time frame, we can see the moving averages. We're right there testing, and this is where we got some support here. There's a lot of confluence of this 360 to 345 range. Okay, we can see that 20-day SMA hanging out right there. We got a previous high as well, and then there's a lot of reasons why this 363 mark should work as a support. Okay, not only just a golden pocket, but there's some other confirming factors which you can see on other time frames for that. When we look here at 50 on the RSI, we're getting closer to that potential bounce, that potential support range. I don't necessarily think we're going to just bounce off this level because of it, but just know if we stay above 50 on the RSI on the daily, SUI should be able to maintain itself, its range, and continue higher. If we lose this, usually you see further continuation of the downside. If you look at SUI, it spent very little time below 50 on the RSI. It doesn't even know what that looked like. So the truth is that could be a very bearish situation for us. We'll bridge that gap when we get there, but I'd like to see the price stay where it's at or higher, okay? Same thing here with the money flow index. It's pulling back, stochastic swinging down, MACD's finally diverging. While we have had previous divergences in the past, the last time we diverged officially was what? Right there, right here. So from top to bottom, we had about a 20% correction over 4 days after we diverged on the MACD on the daily here for SUI. So it does imply further downside would make sense considering we just diverged and we're only down by roughly 10%, okay? So again, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see the exact same thing moving forward. It just implies there's probably more meat left on the bone and the price action should continue lower because we have good momentum to the downside. 4-hour time frames reflecting the same exact thing. We're starting to see kind of a nice little situation here though, and I just want to speak loosely about this so you understand that I'm not recommending you take a long right now, but I am saying in general, when you see RSI closer to 30 and the money flow index at 20, and this being a key level support range, it would make sense for SUI to bounce from here and to continue higher, at least for a short while. It may not be sustainable, but it should be somewhat of a relief rally. Anyways, that's how you can identify relief rallies in my personal opinion. I've had a lot of success buying those kind of dips. So again, take that with a grain of salt. We are seriously just on the edge of disaster here. So if you're going to take a trade to the upside, make sure your stop loss is in good working order, okay? Once more, we have a good support between 340 and 360. I'm just spitballing here, the round numbers there, 340, 360. That's a nice little area there. More specifically, 343 and 363 are those levels. So 4-hour time frame, still bearish. We're under the 20 and the 50-day SMA. There's no real reason to take a long position right now in all reality, okay? Hourly time frame is going to reflect a very similar scenario here. All of them are right now. And for the moment, it's still telling us here that a short position is much more viable than a long. Now, do I recommend taking a short with SUI ever? No, I don't. It's always one of those hindsight's 2020 things with this coin. You know, it's like it's an amazing trade, but everything looks perfect, and then it'll instantly just screw you over. So I'm only 50% success rate. I've had 2 out of 4 good short trades. For SUI, the other 2 didn't go as planned. And me personally, I don't like to trade with a 50% success rate. I average more like 75 to 80%. And again, so that's just kind of friendly advice. Take it from somebody who's done a lot of trading in their days. Shorting SUI is a high risk. It's not really ideal, okay? You're better off waiting for a dip to buying the dip. At this point though, is this a dip to buy? Short answer is no. Everything here is telling us that we're still in bear town. But there's a small consideration for the price to pivot off this key level support. But that is all pending on Bitcoin maintaining any kind of level, any kind of substantive hold. I mean, look at this. Anytime the price goes up, it just instantly gets rejected, okay? So there's too much selling pressure right now to warrant a long position with confidence. That's all there is to it. So friendly advice, no long or short at this point. I know that's not what you want to hear, but I'm never here to tell you what you want to hear. It's basically what you need to know. There's a difference. So once more, I hope it works out. If you do take a long and it continues higher, I hope that happens. But for right now, maintaining above the 363, I think, is an important factor. We can stay above 363 today, and Bitcoin shows some kind of level hold at this 94,800, 94.7. That's that key level support for Bitcoin. Then we're probably going to be able to consider an SUI long soon. But as you can see, SUI is still responding poorly to Bitcoin sell-offs. Okay, so not good. Anyways, I'll post our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord here soon. It looks a little something like this if you're not familiar. And then, of course, make sure you reference Bitunix too. $12,000 deposit bonus if you use my link to register. These guys are phenomenal. Be sure to check them out. I appreciate you, though. Nonetheless, hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll look forward to see the next one. Take care.